guys have a good mentality right now. I mean, our guys have earned some points over the course of the last two series to put them in this place right now. I mean, we've got 10 out of 12 points in the last two series, and again, that's what can happen. When you have a league that's so tight the way it is, a couple hot weekends obviously puts you in a pretty good spot. Look at Bowling Green; they were left for dead. They were left for dead a couple weeks ago. So it doesn't matter who you are. When you win some games, obviously, again, it puts you in a pretty good position. And these games this weekend are going to be fun. One of our players said it the other day. This is fun, and this is why you play, and it's the truth. Opportunity of playing in big games. There's a lot on the line for both teams, and that's what this time of year is for. Games like this.
When you get to this time of the year and you see your name at the top of those standings, it's pretty clear that you guys can control that own destiny in terms of the Knocky Cup and seeding. How much do you feel like the guys like being in that position where they control their own fate?
Well, again, Jared, it's like there's a lot of things you just never talk about, and that's the one thing I want to make sure we don't talk about it. No player ever talks about it. So, obviously, would you rather be in first place or second place? The answer is common sense. You want to be in first place, but we also know who you're playing, and it's razor thin, the difference between every team in our league. So, we're in a good spot this weekend. I just want to be in the same spot the next weekend. And there could be other people in this spot. So who knows? I mean, that's that's the parity of our league. That's the tightness of the standings right now. So yeah, we like where we're at, but you got to get it done as well.
You guys have been one of the most disciplined teams in college hockey this year. Some of the fewest penalties per game in the country. Talk about just the way that you're able to play with some of that heavy style while also staying on the penalty box. Well,
again, we pride ourselves on being disciplined. I think most teams do, but we're pretty disciplined, and hopefully it carries over into this weekend. So you always got to watch what you say too. I mean, but no, we've stayed year in and year out. We've stayed out of the penalty box. You're going to get your share of penalties, but you want to try to minimize it, and we have minimized it. And I think again we play hard when the game's going on, and hopefully again when the game's not going on, and between the whistles, you don't see a lot of crud from us, and I think I think we play a physical game, a pretty physical game. I want to play a physical game. Sometimes when you play a physical game, you're going to get some penalties, but again, you got to know how to, when to engage and when not to engage, when to use your stick and when not to use your stick, I guess is probably the best way of putting it.
When you get to a series like this one where it's an in-state rivalry, there's a lot on the line, two teams fighting for the same thing, those games can be a little chippier and a little bit tighter. How important is it to keep that discipline, especially in a series like this?
See, I don't agree with that. I think it doesn't become chippier. I think this time of year, if you want to be chippy, you're playing games that you shouldn't be playing because it can backfire on you. So you want to stay out of the penalty box. I don't care who you're playing. It doesn't matter if we're playing St. Thomas or Ferris or Lake Superior or Bowling Green or whatever, somebody who's not in our state. The whole mindset's the same way. The game's going to be played the same way. There's just too much on the line to worry. Is this a in-state rival or not? I don't think there's any. This has nothing to do with an in-state rivalry. I think this has something to do with the magnitude of the game and where you're at in the standings. That's where it's at right now. So I don't buy the chippiness stuff. And if there is some chippiness, it has no bearing on the in-state rival or anything else. It's something else, precipitated that.
So you've seen a lot of guys come back and get healthy, and that's created a lot of forward depth towards that bottom end. And you see guys rotating in on that fourth line. Just talk about how you've seen the competition within the team and raising shifts from the bottom.
Well, competition's healthy. That's number one. It's really healthy. It brings out the best in players. And I think when you have injuries too, we've had injuries, but we've also, when you have injuries, people are playing, so they're elevating them. They're elevating their role, or they're getting ice that they never had before, and all that does is help your depth when you get guys back. So I always look at injuries. Some people look at injuries as a negative. I mean, you're never happy with them, but somebody's getting opportunity. You're making your team better, and that's kind of when guys get back, and that's kind of how you have to look at things. Sometimes you got to look at it as with the glass half full, not the glass half empty.
Did you see that kind of experience pay off a little bit more this past weekend, especially with the reshape?
Well, I think so. I mean, you hope it. Guys want to continue to play too. So that's competition, but also those guys got a lot of ice. They got a lot of ice when there was a lot of injuries. So familiarity. They're comfortable. They're comfortable playing. They're comfortable with their role, and I think that carried over this past weekend.
Coach, since New Year's, you kept saying somebody's got to take it. Somebody in this league has to make a decision to take some points some weekend. You guys have done that 2 weekends in a row now. What flipped that switch for you guys to be able to do that?
I think it's hard to sit there and pinpoint exactly, how we've had success or why we've had success the last couple of weekends. But I think it's a testament to our players. I think there's take a look at our defensive game. Since the Tech series, I think we've given up 10 5-on-5 goals in the last 8 games. It puts you in a pretty good spot if you're giving up 1.25 5-on-5 goals a game. And that obviously helps. And take a look at our block shots. I just take a look at our home makeup over the course of the last month. It's been pretty good. I like the mindset that our players have. I like that. I like how we're playing. I like the sacrifice in our team. And I think once you start having some success and you recognize exactly what we've been talking about and they see that success, I think it's easy to carry that over. So, but again, these games, guys, we won games that are, again, I'm going to say they're razor thin. There's just a fine line, and sometimes, pucks go your way, sometimes they don't. We've just been fortunate enough to have the pucks go our way over the course of the last couple of weekends too. So we'll take that any day of the week because we've been on the other end of that as well.
Do you believe the way you've been playing is why you've been fortunate?
I think so. I think I believe in karma that way. And again, if you do things the right way, I think you're going to get rewarded. I really believe that. And if you're not going to do things the right way, you have a tendency of losing a 1-goal game or losing a game in general. So there's a lot that goes into it. But every game, obviously, again, every game and every series is a different journey.
You guys look back the last couple of Saturdays in particular. How does that prepare you for the intensity of the next week?
Well, I think, Schultz, I'd like to think that the whole year does that. It hardens you. The whole year hardens you. There's times where you've won, you've won. You got to win different ways. That's probably the best way. You got to win different ways. I always tell our team, you got to know how to win 2-1 too. You have to know how to win. This time of year, you have to know how to win 2-1. And it's just the way it is. But you learn how to win different ways during the year, and you lose different ways during the year. You just need to grow from those losses and those wins.
Yeah, I think we've been playing pretty good hockey right now. We put ourselves in a really good position, and this weekend's really going to be huge. I think we need 6 points without a doubt, and it's not going to be easy for sure. I think St. Thomas is playing really well, and they're a really good hockey team, so it's going to take everything we got this weekend.
What do you remember from that first series against St. Thomas, and how can you guys use some of that in this one coming up?
Yeah, I think we got some good experience early on against them. Tough team to play against. They play actually pretty similar to Ferris from what I remember. They play fast, they chip pucks out, and they forecheck really hard. So it's going to be a tough weekend.
You have 4 goals in your last 5 games. Talk about what's clicking for you right now in your whole line, because it seems like all 3 of you guys are playing your best at hockey right now.
Yeah, I think it's all come together at a good time here for sure. And our line, I think we're just playing the right way. We're keeping it simple. We're being physical. We're defending well, and just bearing our chances, honestly. That's what it comes down to, too.
After Friday's game, Tom said he talked to you about how he liked how you're playing physical and with speed. Talk about how you balance those 2 sides of the game to get the most out of your game.
Yeah, I think speed is probably my best attribute. I'm not the biggest guy, so physicality has probably never been the main thing for me, but I think being more physical has really helped me out, both defensively and offensively, creating turnovers.
Tom also talked about how when you do the little things and you kind of trust the process, the offense comes. Is that something that's kind of applied to you here at this point in the season?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Kind of struggling offensively for most of the year. It's been really important just to focus on the right things and keep it simple, because can't really focus on scoring goals. You got to focus on how to get those chances, and then the rest will take care of itself.
Was there a game or a moment for you where you kind of saw things start to go in your way offensively?
Yeah, I think the whole second half's been a lot better. Been getting more chances, and once you bury a few goals, you start to get your confidence back, and it just starts rolling.
You guys have been one of the most disciplined teams in the country this year, taking, I think, the 6th least penalties per how you guys pride yourselves off of staying out of the box.
Yeah, I think that's something we talk about a lot, just trying to not take unnecessary penalties and check with our feet. That's what we say all the time. Don't get your stick mixed in anywhere and take stupid penalties.
You talked about it. I mean, it'd be good to get a 6-point weekend out of this, and when you're sitting at the top of the standings, it's kind of control your own destiny and it's all in your hands. Do you guys feel that sense in the locker room that whatever happens is going to be up to you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're in a really good spot, and like you said, I mean, all we got to do now is win games. So it's kind of simple on our end.
There's been some lows this season, whether it's been injuries or sweeps, overtime, whatever it might be. It seems like you've kind of moved out of some of those lulls in the season. Is there a buzz around the situation you guys are in right now with everything in front of you?
Yeah, I think we've we learned a lot from all those inconsistencies, those injuries we had early in the year, and we've really grown as a group. Getting everyone back is huge, and I think we're playing really good hockey right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a long time since we played them. We played them at the start of the year, so I'm sure we'll be seeing a different team than maybe the first time when we swapped them here. But I mean, they've had a pretty good year. They've had some sustained success, so it's going to be by far the biggest weekend of the year, and should be a really good test for our group.
A lot of wingers are rotating in and out of your line. You seem to be staying put right down there at center. Just talk about the challenges and maybe some of the things you like about getting to play with so many guys and what it brings to this team at this point in the season.
Yeah, I think I think I've seen enough people in that spot that I've kind of played enough games with all the wingers around me, so I'm not surprised by anything anymore. Like usually it's the same couple guys, but I think it's good competition in our lineup too. Like the internal competition always pushes everybody to rise their game, and I think it's really good to keep everyone pushing, and nobody can be satisfied with how they're playing.
Sure. And I want to ask you about Yuri too, because he's a veteran center on this team.
Yeah.
You're a freshman center on this team. Has he helped you in any ways to adjust into the college game this year?
Yeah, well, I think being the only underclassman center there is it's kind of been good for me to learn from all those guys, from Jutting and even Martin and Rode when they're there, and Yuri for sure. Like I think there's little things you pick up, like watching those guys, even like face-off stuff, but also like just positioning and how to get the puck in good spots and being able to transition it the other way. So yeah, I think I've learned a lot from those guys. I think it's been really helpful, especially in the second half here, for sure.